Hello, hello, it's Memento, and welcome to my review of Cozy Organizer. This is part of my Steam Next Fest demos series, and I have a lot to say, so let's get right into it. If unpacking and A Little to the Left had a love child, I think Cozy Organizer would be just that. From charming visuals to lots of variation in each level, I genuinely enjoyed the relaxing atmosphere as I just sat back and worked to organize each individual setting. So, let's talk about my experience playing Cozy Organizer. The premise of the game itself is actually really simple. You're just organizing. As they say at the beginning for the tutorial, there is no right place to put things, although I'm going to put an asterisk there because they don't let you overlap stuff very much, so there is a bit of a right place. Most of the levels have at least 3 iterations of items that spawn in that you have to continue to organize until everything has found a home. And like the tutorial says, one of the cool things is that there are no right answers. So when you're presented with like lunch trays full of food, if you want to make one lunch all desserts, you can. The sky's the limit, and the only stipulations are that things have to actually fit in the place you want them to, and they can't just overlap continuously. There are a few items that can overlap, but most of them can't. For a lot of people, I think this is such a perfect concept, and while I enjoyed it, I also found myself adding in little rules for myself, like in the vending machine. The first time I played through it, because I did play through this demo twice, I just wanted to make each machine kind of have its own theme. So I had drinks in one, and I had like snacks that were in bags in another, and then I had this really weird miscellaneous one that kind of had stuff that didn't quite fit in other places. And I actually, when I revisited the lunchroom, I didn't make balanced meals, but I did make some really cursed meals that were like primarily desserts. And I just kind of had a little bit more fun with it on my second playthrough. I didn't worry so much. And throughout each level, you also get these cute little stars. There's a counter in the corner, but I'm not sure what it's going to be used for. I suspect this is going to be for the final release of the game, so right now it's just a fun thing that you can collect. Speaking of the stars, though, I did notice that there was a glitch. In the settings, I went to turn down the sound effects. When I'm streaming or playing a game for a recording, especially when it's raw footage, I tend to not like having the sound effects in there because I find them a little bit distracting. If I cut something, it means that I can't just use the unedited music underneath. So like in editing, sometimes what I do is I mute it, but I take out the music and I play the music at the bottom. And if there are sound effects all throughout, I can't really do that. Otherwise you hear random ba 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 ba, and you're like, huh, wonder why that's occurring. So for me personally, I like to mute the sound effects, and I went to do that in settings and still heard them. There also is an ADHD/autism mode, so I was like, oh, okay, maybe I muted some stuff, but not everything, so I pressed that, and it still didn't really do anything. So I'm hoping that in the full release for the game that will get fixed, but I did just want to make note that right now the volume settings didn't work perfectly. But it was really cool listening to the music. The music is so charming. It's really engaging and it helps to keep you immersed. I enjoyed the soundtrack a lot and found that it was peaceful and overall really relaxing. And then, like I said, the sound effects definitely, for me personally, took away from the experience some, but overall, there were more pros than cons. I did notice that there was no stacking items unless specifically the point of the level. So there's a level where you do stack coins. Obviously, you can stack the coins. And while most of the time I didn't even think about this, on the first level, I started to get a bit frustrated. There were these mugs that I desperately just wanted to stack on top of each other as a form of storage. And I just couldn't, and they took up so much space. Oh my gosh. Everywhere I put them, they took up a whole shelf. They took up a whole, like, row of the like, bookshelf area. They were the bane of my existence. Now, I found it a little frustrating, but I'm saying that, not saying it necessarily needs to be changed. Maybe just considered when it comes to some more items. I don't know about everyone out there, but I like to stack my kitchen specifically to maximize space, and allowing for a little bit of overlap I think can be really, really helpful. One thing I liked is how some levels were multi-step. In the level where you're stacking the coins, you actually have to polish the dirty ones before you can stack them, and I thought that this was a really lovely touch, and I found it to be quite nice. In the other one where you're sorting the art supplies, I also enjoyed that you had to clean off the paint palette and clean off where the paints themselves went. It's just, I don't know, there's something very satisfying about it that I really enjoyed. And like speaking a little bit on some of the other levels, I know the final level felt a little bit disjointed to me with all of the things coming out of the portal. I liked it, but at the same time, things kept appearing and I was like, where am I supposed to put this? Fortunately, I kept finding space for it, but it did get a little bit frustrating when I was like, oh, it sure would be nice, but like this fox takes up a ton of space, so I have to like maneuver things, so I didn't quite get to like picture perfect place things, so that was how I felt about that one. And then I really liked the level where you made the picture. One thing I specifically liked about that level was when you actually put the picture together, it would click into place so I could move the entire thing. Because when I first started, I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of pieces. This is a little overwhelming. But as I went, and once I joined my first 2 pieces, I could just move them together, and it made it a lot easier to move it out of the way and spread my pieces out to the point where I could finally figure it out. It was surprisingly hard. I was like, what in the world? As I was doing it, but I really did enjoy it, and that one might have been my favorite level aside from the vending machine. I really liked that. But I did want to put in a small suggestion that is my personal opinion. This is not something that the devs have to do. I mean, they don't have to do anything that I say. I'm just here to spitball some suggestions. But my suggestion for this game is I would love to see a story. Much like how in Unpacking, you get a single sentence at the end of each level to help piece together a story, I would love to see that in Cozy Organizer. Something about an underlying story that you slowly piece together is just so appealing and satisfying to me. I am not in any way saying you have to be in depth. I'm not saying that it has to be anything crazy, but a little comment when you take a picture at the end of each level I think would be so nice. It adds this additional layer of depth to a game that would really take it to the next level, and I think it would help it stand beside some of the greats of this specific genre. Also, I really liked the scrapbooking at the end that you got to do. I just wish there were more stickers. I ran out of space. Like, I was trying to do one big picture a page, and I ran out of additional stickers so fast, so I wish there was a little bit more of that. Cozy Organizer absolutely lives up to its name though, and it left me feeling so relaxed and rejuvenated. So, now the final question. Would I buy this game? With a release date in the second half of 2025, Cozy Organizer will be here before we know it, and I would definitely be interested in purchasing this game. It's charming, relaxing, and reminds me of some of my favorite games that I use to de-stress. So, it's not out yet, but I absolutely will be wishlisting it and waiting with bated breath for Cozy Organizer to come home. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little review of Cozy Organizer. This is yet another of my Steam Next Fest demos. I've played so many amazing demos and filmed so many videos highlighting these demos, and if this has interested you, please go give it a wish list. This really does help the game to be seen. Every single wish list helps Steam know that people are interested and pushes it in the algorithm. That's something I learned relatively recently, and I want the best for these indies, so please, Cozy Organizer is coming soon. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a nice little comment, and maybe even subscribe so that you can know every time I upload a new video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Let's get cozy together. Ready, steady, bye!